Murderers who blamed video game characters, dude. This is a freaking tough video.
Video games. We all love them, right? Well, even if you don't, I'm sure you've at least played one video game in your life.
Well, it's never made me want to commit anything heinous, you know, like anything murderous or anything bad. But I game from time to time. I play Rocket League, and sometimes, you know, I don't even agree with the things I just said when I play Rocket League, now that I think about it. Maybe I do have malicious intent. Maybe I am thinking about doing a heinous crime. Anyways, let's see what this video's about. Murderers who blamed video game characters. Did I already say that? Maybe.
Some personal favorites like GTA, Undertale, and The Walking Dead Telltale games. Funny enough, 2 of those series are actually in this video. I'm very glad Undertale isn't. That is a spoiler. Yes, Undertale is not on this list. That would be crazy, blaming Sans for a killing. But like you read in the title of the video, today we're going to be talking about murderers who went out of their way to blame video games or video game characters. And if I look a little bit different, that's because I shaved. I lost a Minecraft bet over on my Twitch stream. This is literally not even to promote it. Editor,
the video games made him do it, dude.
Don't even put.
He killed his beard.
Well, that's not the point of the video. Without further ado, let's get straight into the topic. GTA Vice City. You probably remember Vice City, the absolute gem of a GTA game set in the 80s where you play as Tommy Vercetti.
Dude, one of the most goated GTA games for the mobile devices, dude.
Convict climbing the criminal ladder in a city full of neon, bad hair, and suspicious white powder. In one particular mission, you literally break into a police station, shoot officers, and escape in a stolen patrol car. Obviously, this is just a video game. But on June 7th of 2003, that exact scenario played out in real life in Fayette, Alabama. And an 18-year-old named Devin Moore claimed the game taught him how to do it. It's pretty eerie because in that photo, Devin doesn't even look like the kind of guy you'd expect to be a killer. Fresh out of high school, no criminal record, and he just enlisted into the Air Force. He was actually supposed to ship out that summer. But on that Saturday night, Officer Arnold Strickland brought him into the police station on suspicion of stealing a car. Routine booking, nothing unusual. The thing is, what happened next was anything but routine. According to Moore's own confession, he suddenly lunged at Officer Strickland and grabbed his .40 caliber Glock. 2 shots, 1 to the head. Officer James Crump heard the gunfire and came running down the hallway. Moore met him there and fired 3 more shots, again hitting the head. Then he walked to the dispatcher's office and put 5 bullets into Ace Mueller, the 911 operator. Another headshot. 3 men dead in under a minute. All professional level marksmanship from someone who supposedly had never been in trouble before. And if that doesn't make sense to you, hold your breath because what happened next makes even less sense. After stealing a police cruiser and getting captured in Mississippi hours later, Moore told investigators something chilling. Life is like a video game. Everybody's gotta die sometime. That made his defense attorney Jim Standridge argue that Moore had been essentially programmed by hundreds of hours of playing Grand Theft Auto. The game, he claimed, created a cranial menu that popped up in Moore's head during that split-second decision in the police station, combined with childhood and an underdeveloped teenage brain. The violent video game had turned Moore into a killer. And boom, suddenly the whole conversation was about video games. Attorney Jack Thompson went all in, and being a renowned anti-gaming crusader, he escalated it into filing a massive lawsuit against Take-Two Interactive, Sony, Walmart, and GameStop, calling Grand Theft Auto a murder simulator that trained Moore to execute those officers. And to be fair, not that this proves anything, but there actually is a mission in Vice City that mirrors exactly what Moore did. You infiltrate a police station like I said before, you kill the officers, and you escape in their cruiser. The parallels are just genuinely unsettling. Anyway, that wasn't enough to gain favor with the judge. He even barred the jury from hearing testimony linking the game to the murders. In August of 2005, after deliberating for just over an hour, the jury convicted Moore of capital murder. 2 months later, he was sentenced to death by lethal injection. He's still on death row.
Yeah, that was... I guess they didn't say Rockstar, huh? Did they not own GTA since the start? I don't even know.
At Hallman Correctional Facility in Alabama. His appeals have been...
I guess in GTA's defense, it would probably encapsulate every crime ever committed somewhere in the various games, right? I really gotta change that. Dude.
Dylan Harvey donated $2 Canadian through Super Chat. Hey Lonnie, for you red heart slightly smiling face.
Appreciate you, dog. Thanks for the Super Chat, Dylan Harvey. Hope you're doing well. Happy Saturday, dog. Appreciate you.
Repeatedly denied. Meanwhile, the civil lawsuit against the gaming companies...
Was I saying something? Did I finish what I was saying? But yeah, GTA does have a lot of crimes in it. So, I mean, you could draw parallels pretty easily somewhere in the franchise, I guess, but...
...for years before ultimately failing. Before we move on to the next one, I do want to make it clear that I personally don't think video games turn people into murderers, it's always going to be something psychologically wrong with them, and then like they get obsessed. Like with the video we made before where they blame fictional characters, it's never like the fictional character that's telling the viewer or player, hey, you should go do this. It's not like that. Plus, these games have ratings for a reason, but just want to make that clear in case someone's like, why is Tub trying to paint a bad light on video games? No, dude, I love video games. But maybe I didn't need to say that. Maybe I did. Maybe there's that one person that...
I hate video games! I would love to blame them. However, I don't see any correlation between video game violence and real violence, dude. They're totally separate genres of entertainment.
Manhunt. Now,
that's a joke, obviously.
This game is on this list. By the way, a lot of this list does consist of minors who became murderers, and in most cases, the media doesn't post pictures of minors just because they're not adults and can't really consent to publication, so don't be surprised if you don't see pictures of some people. So next is the case of a game where the whole point is to be as brutal as possible. Like, you sneak up on victims, and the more vicious you're killed...
Yeah, I think Manhunt actually might be a murder simulator. I think this will upset somebody.
Your score.
In that courtroom.
Welcome to Manhunt, a game so violent that New Zealand outright banned it. But in Leicester, England, a 17-year-old named Warren LeBlanc wasn't just playing it. According to his victim's family, he was inspired by it. So, February of 2004, 14-year-old Stefan Pakira thought he was meeting some girls at the local park. His friend Warren had invited him to Stoke Woods Park. Locals called it the Dumps, saying there were girls there waiting to meet them. Stefan trusted Warren. They'd been friends for a while, and Warren was older, cooler. I mean, why wouldn't he go?
Cooler!
But then, as you probably figured out by now, there were no girls, just Warren. Armed with a knife and a claw hammer, Warren bludgeoned Stefan repeatedly with the hammer, then stabbed him multiple times. The attack was prolonged and vicious, and Warren didn't even try to run. 2 police officers found him covered in Stefan's blood, and he immediately confessed. Just like that, a 14-year-old was dead, and a 17-year-old's life was over. And according to Stefan's parents, it all perfectly mimicked the gameplay mechanics of Manhunt. See, Stefan's mother, Giselle Pakira, had heard from Warren's friends that he was, quote, obsessed with Manhunt. The game, she said, had blurred the boundaries between fantasy and reality for Warren. The way her son was killed, the weapons used, the brutality, it all matched the game's stealth killing mechanics. The whole point of the game is to kill and to do it brutally. That's what Giselle told reporters, adding that it shouldn't be something young people have access to. Stefan's dad, Patrick, was on the same page. In his view, there was definitely some kind of connection between the game and what Warren ended up doing. But Warren's defense told a completely
Did you guys ever play games like this? Freaking, I was not allowed to play the more violent video games growing up. I was what am I trying to say? I wasn't allowed to play games that had like a lot of guns and murder and manhunt in them. Like Jak 2, that was kind of pushing it, but that was like cartoon guns.
Story. His lawyer said this wasn't about video games at all. Warren owed money to a gang, about 75 pounds, and he was terrified. He'd planned to rob Stefan and pay off the debt, but the robbery went horribly wrong. Fear, not Manhunt, had driven him to
you've got the balls!
Murder. And the court seemed convinced enough and sided
with this pussy. Wait, hold on. Are we flirting?
The defense. Despite all the media attention linking the case to video game violence,
just took on a whole new meaning.
The game played no official role in the prosecution. Warren was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 13 years, not for being influenced by a video game, but for cold-blooded murder during a robbery gone wrong.
Well, yeah, you can't do that, obviously. That's bad. The Walking Dead Telltale games. All right, I played that one.
Say this in the beginning.
So this is the first game of the video I've actually touched with my own 2 hands, besides Vice City, I'm just now remembering. So I have played 2 of the 3 that we've seen so far, actually. Luckily, there's no correlation, so I'm not in any threat of committing a crime.
Spoiler warnings for some of these games. Some of the gameplay might have spoilers in them. So if you haven't finished the Walking Dead Telltale games, which you should, it's an amazing game, you might want to skip this. This is Nicholas Prosper.
Hello.
18 years old, glasses, yellow bucket hat. He honestly looks like the kind of dude you'd see at a university or working part-time somewhere. But on September 13th of 2024, this seemingly ordinary guy from Luton...
He just seems like a guy. Just a guy you'd see somewhere, if not in a place.
His entire family dead with a shotgun.
Whoa.
Then, he planned to massacre 30 school children at his former primary school. And it all started with a video game character named Clementine. Yes, probably one of the most innocent and wholesome characters ever written in video game history.
That's just not right.
Isn't some violent...
I mean, obviously, because everything about this video is murderous and not right, but goddamn.
Hero or villain, she's actually just a little girl that you take care of throughout the entirety of the first part of the game. That's literally it. She's almost like a daughter figure, and then later in the games you get to play as her. So there isn't the only violent thing she does is murder bad guys which you do like in almost every video game, and zombies.
And the bad guys are zombies.
Or as they like to call it in the game, walkers. But for Nicholas, she became something much more twisted. He declared himself, quote, "chosen by Clementine," and said he was, quote, "guided as Christians are guided by Jesus Christ." And this wasn't some sudden breakdown. Nicholas had been planning this for over a year, meticulously researching mass shootings and studying the Hook Elementary massacre. He specifically wanted to kill around 30 people to achieve a higher death toll than other shooters. His goal was to become the world's most famous shooter of the 21st century. But first, he had to deal with his family. At around 5 in the morning that Friday the 13th, a date he'd chosen deliberately, Nicholas grabbed the double-barreled shotgun
Bro,
he
think
bought
he Jason
illegally the day
Voorhees.
before using a forged license. CCTV footage shows him carrying the weapon through the Luton Council flat. His plan was to kill his mother, Juliana, of 48 years old, and his siblings, Kyle, age 16, and Giselle, age 13, while they slept.
How does this relate to my boy, Clementine from the game? What the fuck? And Lee. While he is alive. Spoiler.
Under 30 seconds, then wait until 8:30 in the morning before heading to St. Joseph's Catholic Primary School. But Juliana woke up earlier than expected and saw Nicholas armed with a shotgun. What followed was an extended, violent struggle that neighbors could hear through the walls. Juliana suffered defensive wounds on her hands and arms from being attacked with a knife before Nicholas shot her in the head at close range. Her body was found in the hallway. Poor Giselle had woken up during the commotion. Nicholas fired at her, grazing the back of her head. She fled to the living room and tried to hide under the dining table, but Nicholas pursued and shot her in the face. Kyle had grabbed a kitchen knife to defend himself, but Nicholas shot him in the chest from a distance, then stabbed him over 100 times while he begged for his life. Despite his injuries, Kyle managed to escape to the hallway before Nicholas finished him off with a gunshot to the head. But why was there so much hate towards
100 stabs is insane. How long does that take? Like an hour?
Family in the first place? Well, in a video he posted online, he specifically mentioned his sister Giselle, saying, quote, "her face will be mutilated further than necessary," end quote.
Brother, what the fuck?
And you want to know why?
They do not talk about that in the game. This is not what Clementine wants.
Because she made an incorrect choice in the Walking Dead game a few months earlier.
Just play the game again, dude. You could just start over. What the fuck? They're not real. Obviously, you should make the right choice. Our actions have consequences, which is highlighted in the gameplay. However, it's just a fucking game!
In case you don't know, the Walking Dead game consists of making decisions. That's the whole point of Telltale games.
I'm just being pedantic for entertainment value. Obviously, you can't reason with somebody like this who's hell-bent on making it make sense to their own selves and their own fucked up delusions of saying, I have to do this because video game told me to, but... Yeah, what was I trying to say? Yeah, I'm insane.
That was his reason for doing that to his sister. Also, incorrect choice. I mean, your story can become anything. Like, in the game, you decide your story. So there really isn't an incorrect thing to do. If you want a specific ending, you can do it. Anyway, after losing it in his flat, Nicholas left around 5:33 in the morning, heading towards St. Joseph's Primary with a loaded shotgun and 33 rounds. But the chaos had thrown off his plan. Cops were already swarming the area, and the school wasn't even open yet. He ditched the gun in some bushes and hid in the roads for over 2 hours. 2 hours later, he was caught wandering down Framingham Road. Officers saw blood on his face and arrested him on the spot. Nicholas kept saying, "It's not murder." But when police found the shotgun, they also found a hand-drawn classroom map labeled with the words "Kill All."
What did that? Bro, you're gonna have a hard time explaining to me and most people that it's not murder. You got that list in your inventory and all.
March of 2025, he pled guilty to 3 murders and got life with a minimum of 49 years. And to this day, it's still not totally clear how Clementine inspired any of it.
What the fuck?
Call of Duty.
I feel clickbaited.
Warzone. February 16th.
All right, this one seems too political. Call of Duty, no thanks. GTA, you could obviously get that from anything. World of Warcraft. Now that's something I need to understand.
World of Warcraft. Notice how this one also has something in the title, and that is quotation marks. There's a reason for that. This guy is Anders Behring Breivik. Middle-class Norwegian, well-educated, the kind of person you'd see at a coffee shop and never think twice about. But in 2011, he became the author of Norway's deadliest peacetime attack, killing 77 people in a single day. He spent the
His descriptions are killing me. It's just like, this is the type of guy that you would see working part-time somewhere. This is the type of guy who you might see minding his own business in public.
Anders Behring Breivik, middle-class Norwegian, well-educated, the kind of person you'd see at a coffee shop and never think twice about. But
the kind of guy who you look at twice and think, yeah, I'd smash.
2011, he became the author of Norway's deadliest peacetime attack,
I agree.
killing 77 people in a single day. He spent the year before the massacre playing video
games. Even though apparently he did a World of Warcraft gaming campaign, so one strike, one red flag, and also he did a murder, so two red flags, but I like to give people the benefit of the doubt.
For 16 hours a day.
Maybe he's cool
now,
besides
when most people
that.
hear about someone playing games that much, they think lazy basement dweller or gaming addiction or maybe even top 1% competitive gamer. But Breivik wasn't some directionless loser. He was methodically preparing for mass murder. He was using World of Warcraft as the perfect cover story. Back then,
guy's dead!
He was 32 years old living with his mom when suddenly he announced that he was going to be spending the next year playing video games full time. I've personally never heard of anyone saying they're making an announcement, saying that they're going to be playing video games for the next year. But anyway, let's continue.
Come on.
The family thought he lost his mind. Friends were worried about him. Everyone was asking what went wrong. But that's exactly what Breivik wanted. While his mother was horrified and his sister in Los Angeles thought he was having a breakdown, he was actually planning the most devastating terroristic attack in Norwegian history. The gaming excuse was extremely interesting, honestly. It explained why he never left his room, why he didn't answer his phone for days, why he'd become so isolated. His family bought it completely. His mother even told psychiatrists later that she felt like she was in prison with him, that he'd become unfortunately intense and strange. But while everyone thought he was wasting his life on fantasy games, Breivik was also playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Unlike World of Warcraft, which was just the cover story, Modern Warfare was actually teaching him skills he'd later use to hunt down teenagers on Utoya Island. I use the term teaching him very loosely there.
What are they putting in these games these days?
Teaching him how to do this, but he was learning from it. You know what I mean? The game uses what at the time was incredibly...
He took what he wanted to take from the game, I suppose.
...realistic military simulation technology, the same holographic sight systems that actual armies use for training. Breivik spent months drilling target acquisition, learning how different weapons behave, practicing...
Bro was playing aim labs for 200 hours. He was preparing for this.
...the kind of precise shooting that would later make him so devastatingly effective during his rampage. And this wasn't some kid who played games and suddenly snapped. Breivik had been planning these attacks for years. He joined shooting clubs, traveled across Europe buying weapons, even rented a remote farm where he could manufacture explosives. The games were just one piece of his elaborate preparation. When the attacks finally happened on July 22nd of 2011, they were terrifyingly methodical. First, he detonated a massive bomb outside government buildings in Oslo, killing 8 people. Then he drove to Utoya Island, dressed as a police officer, and convinced the youth camp organizers to send a ferry to pick him up. They thought he was there to provide security after the bombing. Instead, he spent an hour and 20 minutes systematically hunting down 69 people, mostly teenagers, headshots, calculated movements, the kind of tactical efficiency you'd expect from someone who'd spent months practicing virtual combat scenarios. After the
years in
massacre, investigators found that Breivik had been connected to other gamers online, sharing his extremist views and building a network of like-minded individuals. He'd even sent his 1,500-page manifesto.
You made it sound almost wholesome, but obviously he's an evil man.
Over 1,000 people just
He was connecting with his friends online and sharing his niche special interests with them.
Hours before the attacks,
hours.
Including gaming buddies who had no idea what he was planning. During his trial, Breivik showed zero remorse and actually seemed proud of his gaming preparation. He talked about how the holographic sights in Modern Warfare were so user-friendly that anyone could become an expert marksman with enough practice. He'd essentially turned video gaming into weapons training. He was sentenced to 21 years in prison, which is the maximum under Norwegian law, but with possible extensions if he's still considered dangerous. The guy is currently sitting in...
How long does the average Norwegian guy live? 21 years? It has to be longer than that, I hope. Seems a little short.
In a high-security facility.
That's not a life sentence.
In a really bizarre twist, he actually has access to video games as part of his rehabilitation program.
Lol.
I don't know either.
That makes no sense. However, obviously, I don't think the game made him do it, but it obviously didn't help. And he shouldn't have access to it, but also, I don't fucking know, dude. Appreciate this video. Shout out freaking Tove. I will link this full video in the description. True crime stuff, not usually my thing, but gaming. Now that's something I know a thing or two about.